Machine friends. I'm your host, 𝗠𝗨𝗘𝗥𝗧𝗔, and today on Metal Machine Interviews, we have a special treat for you. On this occasion, we're gonna interview Max Phelps, proficient guitar player and vocalist from the projects 𝗑𝗓𝗓𝗏, Cynic, and Portals of Annihilation. Max, welcome to Metal Machine. As a general question, how's everything going, man?
Pretty good. We just played our first show of this tour last night, and it was pretty smooth sailing. And so, yeah, we're here in Monterey right now and about to play in a few hours. So, yeah, things are good.
Nice. What can you say about the audience in Mexico?
They're great. They're super enthusiastic and crazy, and, you know, I think like Latin America is crazier than everywhere else in the world, probably, as far as like audience reception. So
that is something.
He's not paying attention.
But that is something that we get a lot of times from many band members say that the crowd in Latin America is like really crazy. Do you have like any stories? Any story you want to share? Any crazy and unusual story?
There was a guy in Santiago last time we were here with 𝗑𝗓𝗓𝗏 running around in the pit with like a torch, so it just looked like the whole pit was on fire, and it looked like it's something that would kill everybody. But
about the time we saved the drowning dog from the canal. That was all. We pulled a dog out of the canal.
we pulled a dog out of a canal. We didn't really, but you can imagine what it'd be like if we did. Yeah.
Don't let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Steve says don't let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Crazy, man. Yeah, I saw the guy with the torches, man. I saw that.
Yeah.
Like, it was like in a viral video.
It just looked kind of surreal when you actually look at it, because it's, yeah, just the way it, I don't know, it's never seen that before. I've heard that's like a regular thing there, but
cool, man. So now at the moment you're in Mexico in this tour brought to us by Cacique Entertainment, playing for the people that don't know well, in a band called 𝗑𝗓𝗓𝗏, a band that was created through the help of Eric Grave, former manager of the legendary band 𝗑𝗓𝗓, along with Chuck Schuldiner's family and ex-members from the iconic band. And this is what it's all about. And so what can you tell us about your experience in 𝗑𝗓𝗓𝗏?
It's a lot of fun. It's an honor to do it. Obviously, I was a fan of the band, you know, way before the fact. So it's pretty crazy getting to play with these guys. So yeah, I don't know, it's a lot of fun. Like, honestly, just the chemistry with this lineup and everything is just feels kind of like a good family vibe, and we all get along really well, and, you know, everybody kind of comes in and does their best, you know, puts their all into it, and we try to do a really good job representing the songs and, you know, Chuck's music, just since it means so much to people. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's an honor.
Wow, cool, man. You know, 𝗑𝗓𝗓𝗏 has always been known for having like very proficient musicians, you know, like really with their chops really good. And you know, how does it feel? Did you feel like any pressure? Was it daunting to you, or is it something that just came naturally?
Yeah, of course it's daunting. I mean, it's like, I think the thing that helped was I wasn't the first guy doing it. So the first tour that they did, they had Charles Elliott from Abysmal Dawn and Matt Harvey from Exhumed kind of stepping in and playing the role. So that helped a little bit, just because it's like, you know, I'm not the only one who's done this so far and kind of had to play that role. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just try to do the best I can, honestly. It's, you know, I try to put the work in, try to do the practice, and just try to get as close to replicating the songs in a way that, you know, kind of captures the feel of those things. You can't actually be someone else, obviously, so it's, you know, it's, I just do the best that I can and try to treat it respectfully, and it's all you can do. It's an impossible gig, you know.
I hear you, man. Yeah. And how have the fans received that? You know, that like big responsibility that you're filling in for?
Pretty good, I think, for the most part. I mean, obviously, there's always going to be some people that don't approve of your interpretation of that, but it feels like it's usually a very warm reception, and I feel like, you know, it feels very appreciated, which is great, you know, because it's something that's important and delicate to a lot of people. So I think, yeah, it seems like it goes over pretty well.
Okay, so now like on a more like personal level, like for you, you have like this huge responsibility of filling in for Chuck. So like for you, Max, what has been like the biggest challenge, like both musically or personally?
I mean, like learning to just do that vocal style for that long is pretty hard, you know, just because it's that throaty sort of thing. So, and we play like an hour and a half to sometimes 2 hours. So, you know, I used to blow my voice out like crazy doing that. And then I started just figuring out how to kind of ramp my way up to it before a tour, and in terms of practicing and doing, you know, kind of warming up a certain way. And also just maybe like being a little more aware of control and how much I'm pushing. So there's sort of this middle ground where you can still get a lot of volume and still get like good tone, but it's controlled. And so I've been trying to kind of find that, I guess. And, you know, that's in some ways maybe the hardest part of it, you know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess the whole thing's a sort of strange situation, of course. But I just kind of try to come in and do my best. And fortunately, like everybody in the band is super cool, and we all, you know, it's like kind of a family vibe. So the personal part of it is really easy. I always feel like really supported by Gene and Bobby and Steve, and, you know, Steve wants to know why I named him last.
Hey, hi, Steve.
What about you then, buddy?
Hi from Colombia, Steve. Nice to have you there, man. Cool.
Want me to take over this interview pirate style?
Okay, man, so your Muerte por Vida, Muerte a Todo tour covers several countries in Latin America: Mexico, Colombia, Brazil, Chile, Peru, Costa Rica, and Argentina. So based on how things looked in Guadalajara, what expectations do you have around the audience in Latin America in general and the upcoming dates?
Around nipples.
I mean, honestly, like, it's kind of just what I was saying before. It's like the fans are just very crazy and passionate. People move around a lot. People are very expressive. You know, they like sing the guitar lines really loud, and they mosh like crazy. And, you know, so it's just a very active crowd. So that's kind of what I would expect, which is awesome. You know, that's fun to play for, obviously. So, yeah.
Nice. And okay, how was the process of getting to know the band, the guys, and then getting to know you? Who made the connection? How did that happen?
So I started working with Cynic when I was 23. And then a year later was when they started doing Death Doll, and Paul Masvidal and Sean Reinhardt at the time were involved. And so because of my connection with them, as the Death Doll thing progressed and they started doing, like, you know, once they decided to do the second tour, those guys pushed to pull me into it. And at the time, the band was just those two guys and Steve. I named him last again, you know, it's it's frustrating. So in a way, it was almost like the same band that we had been playing with Cynic, just with a different bass player. So I think that whole segue made it a lot more comfortable easing into it, you know, because I'd already played with two of those guys before. And they knew me pretty well at that point. And, you know, they were kind of fighting for me. So I think in that regard, you know, then by the time it was like Steve and I had a really tight rapport by the time we were playing with Bobby and Gene, and by the time I was getting to play with that lineup. So yeah, things progressed in a pretty natural way, but it was through Cynic, through being involved with Cynic. Cynic was one of my favorite bands. when I was in high school and my early 20s, and I reached out to Paul when they needed a guitarist/vocalist, and we emailed for a while, and I started doing that. So I'm very lucky with my situations.
Cool, man. Cool. That's a story that is really cool to know.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know those kind of things. Yeah.
For sure.
Nice. So Latin America has a very big death fan base, like, man, including myself,
There's some small people.
I got my death shirt on. It's like death. I started listening to death like since I was like really young. So there's a lot of people in different age groups that are gonna come to see the show. So in terms of the set list, what can the fans in Latin America expect from songs or albums? Can you mention something about that?
Whole discography. Like, we're playing stuff from all 7 albums. So I think we cover things pretty evenly, like we do we really cover all of the eras. So I know, like, one of the cool things about Death is just that if you ask 10 different fans their favorite album, you're going to get different answers from everybody. And so I think everybody will probably be satisfied that we'll at least play something off of their favorite album, at least a few songs. So yeah, we try to split that ground pretty evenly and just cover the whole discography and represent everything. So
that's really cool. Like, covering all of the different eras is something that a lot of fans are gonna look for. And like from the like real aggressive parts to the more like jazzy and prog textures. So like for you, what is your personal favorite song to play, or like your 3 favorite songs to play?
Well, we're just kind of starting to do more Perseverance stuff. So like right now, I like playing Scavenger, partially because that's always been a song that I've liked a lot. It's always been a favorite. And this is actually, even though we've been doing this for 10 years, this is the first time I've played that song ever. So that's kind of fresh and new to play. So I'm enjoying that. Symbolic's always killer. Suicide Machine is awesome. If I had to pick 3, those might be. The Philosopher is really fun to play too. So
that's like fun. What is the one that makes you feel like, oh man, here it comes, like the challenge? What is the hardest one?
I would say the Sound of Perseverance ones right now. But and it's kind of as a collective thing too. It's like, we're still kind of getting our footing playing those songs. So, they're a challenge. But again, like, they're fresh, so it's like we don't have them locked in as well, I don't feel like, but at the same time, it's kind of fun because we're still riding that wave and like figuring them out. So
the adrenaline of the unknown. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
Okay, so in terms of the newer generations, how have the younger generations of metal fans responded to Death to All in 2024? Have you seen like young people coming out?
Yeah, definitely. There's people that look like they're like in their 20s and maybe some teens and yeah, I think people my age and younger generally like it because like I'm 35 years old. Around when I started playing guitar and getting into music is when Chuck passed away. So obviously there was never any opportunity for me to see the band, and I think there's a lot of people that are, again, my age and younger that are in the same boat where they're really inspired by the band. They're really into Death's music, and it's like nobody, all of us didn't have the chance to see it when it actually happened. So I think there's a lot of appreciation there. And then, for the older fans that did get to see it, there's a nostalgia trip there because we're trying to capture something that, gives the closest experience to maybe what it would be like to get to see that.
Nice. Have you seen like any difference between the response of the younger ones and the older ones, or they're all like fully excited?
Younger people probably tend to move around more and mosh more and go crazy, you know. But he's triggered.
Disrespecting us elders.
Okay, so speaking more about your work, aside from Death to All, we know that you work with Cynic and Portals of Annihilation. What can you share about these?
So my main band is called Exist.
Okay, Exist.
You won't find it on the Metal Archives.
Okay.
Because they won't allow us on there. We're banned.
Why? That's interesting.
We churned the waters a little too much, and so a bunch of nerds didn't think we were metal enough because we put other stuff in there, you know.
What kind of other stuff?
I don't know, like a lot of fusion, psychedelic-y sort of stuff. You know, we also play we're influenced by modern metal as well. So, you know, I think those guys get a little elitist about like, if something might have a tint of like gentiness or something like that, you know, then they're offended by it. So
I get it, the pure.
Yeah. So you won't find us on there. So the research is from there, you know. So that's my main band, and we just actually dropped a new song for our 4th album 2 days ago, and so we have a new album coming out that we're very excited about, and so I'm trying to play live with that as much as I can, kind of in between the cracks of all these other things that I do, you know. So yeah, there's Exist, and then you know, I've been playing live with Cynic a lot for the last year. Right now they're actually out without me just because of the schedule conflicts, you know. But you know, that's something I've been doing a lot of. And then the thing you're talking about, Portals of Annihilation, is actually a band called 𝗑𝗓𝗓𝗓. So the band name is actually 𝗑𝗓𝗓𝗓. The album is called Portals of Annihilation.
Oh, okay.
And that's kind of more of like a session thing, but it's a really cool project. It's this guy in Toronto who writes everything, and he's a really great guitarist and great writer. And then he has Dominic Forrest. How do you say his name? Lapointe. Dominic Forrest Lapointe from First Fragment.
I said that.
I just son of a bitch. He told me the wrong pronunciation on purpose. Now he says he thinks it is that. So Dominic, we're sorry. We're terrible. But you're an amazing bass player.
Fucking God.
He's a sick fucking bass player. So yeah, Dominic, and then this drummer from Australia. God, I feel like an idiot. I'm blanking out his name. I know. So that stuff's all remote. Like I've never, you know, haven't met those two other guys in person. But yeah, anyway, Robin Stone. I don't know if you've heard him. He's like a big internet drummer who plays he does session stuff in all these projects, and he's incredible. He's incredibly fast and just crazy musicians on that. So, but I just did the vocals on it. I just wrote vocals, and yeah, so it's a cool project.
Cool. So are there any future projects for Cynic too?
I have no idea. I mean, that's really Paul's.
They have a really big project right now, finding their drummer.
Well, yeah, their drummer, Matt Lynch, was missing for the first night of their tour, I guess last night, but he's good now. He had a little passport issue.
So they found him?
Yeah, they found him.
Yeah, what was it? Suspense.
Steve thought he was missing still.
I really like that drummer.
He's amazing. Yeah, Matt Lynch. Yeah, I don't know. You know, Paul kind of just goes with his gut feeling on those sort of things, and you know, so I'm not sure if he's writing. I know he was planning to maybe kind of try to take a portion, I think in May he was saying, where he just wanted to kind of go away and just kind of alienate himself and write a bunch, but I don't know if that's still his plan, you know. So he's he's a kind of maybe spontaneous guy in a lot of ways, you know. He'll get fixed on something and then he'll start, but I would imagine he'll probably start writing for that soon, or if he's not already, you know, that's a question for him for sure.
Okay, so making an impact in the music scene in general is something that's very hard. You know, it's no secret, especially like in rock and metal music. So what is the biggest challenge that you have had to overcome, both as a musician and as an individual, to get to where you are at right now?
I think promoting new music is very, very, very hard. You know, I mean, like, I've been very fortunate to kind of dive into these situations with these established bands, and you know, and luckily bands that I'm a huge fan of already, so it's not even, you know, there's no compromise there in terms of doing it. Why? But but yeah, like you know, just promoting like new music is really, really difficult. Like getting Exist out there has been really a challenge, you know, so we still lose money on that and go out and, you know, try to do it anyway. And you're fighting for so Steve says I'm fighting for the existence of my band. Yeah. So that's challenging, you know, and just maybe just the juggling act of everything too, because like when I'm at home I teach music, and that's kind of the closest thing to like a job. But then I also do freelance work. I do like wedding gigs and stuff like that. I do, you know, session work for people. So it's just doing all these different things, and then like the touring bands. You know, but it's fun. It's like challenging. You learn a lot by doing all that stuff. So
cool. Speaking about Chuck and his work, what is the personal and professional aspect that you most admire in him?
Probably just the sort of individuality of his voice, like as a writer and just as a guitarist and as a vocalist.
He's a grill master.
Yeah, apparently he was a grill master. I can't vouch for that, but you know, I've heard.
He's the best barbecuer of the 90s.
Yeah, best barbecuer of the 90s, Steve says.
Grill master? I would have never expected that.
Yeah, I would just say the authenticity and sort of the way that he wrote like very catchy, memorable songs in the death metal format.
Up until the last album.
He says up until the last album. You don't want to be quoted on that. I'm a big Sound of Perseverance fan, so fuck him. But yeah, I would just say, you know, the individuality of all that stuff, and maybe just sort of the attitude. Like even with his guitar playing, there's sort of a way that he, you know, it's like when he's soloing, it's kind of sloppy, but there's sort of this no shit given, like I'm going to use the devices that I have in front of me and just own every aspect of that. And I think that's really admirable, and that's something cool. It's just the ownership of that, like the ownership of what he had as a performer. And yeah.
Cool, man. In a parallel world, if you had the opportunity of playing with Chuck, what would be your favorite song to play?
I mean, I would think it would be the same ones I already like playing with these guys, you know. Except I'd get to just play guitar, I guess. Maybe that'd be nice.
Okay, what has been the most challenging and the most satisfactory Death to All show?
Brutal Assault in 2015 or so, whenever we played Brutal Assault, I remember that seems like a real memorable one. For some reason, and it's like one of those ones that's on video that just had I don't know, there was something about the vibe of that I remember being a really cool show. I feel like we've probably had more since COVID that, you know, like some of those festivals when we first started playing again were really great. I don't know, there's I guess last year we played on my birthday in Baltimore, my home show, so that was amazing. Yeah, they were like, they put balloons all over the stage, and these guys were playing like the Beatles' birthdays, so that was amazing.
Cool.
Just because all my friends and family and everybody were there. I remember our last show at the last tour, Denver, was like really good too. I just remember that having a really good vibe. And then most challenging, I don't know. I mean, like there was one time when I came out, I think we were in Switzerland. My guitar was tuned off a half step, and also I couldn't hear that well through the monitor, so I was like second guessing everything the whole time, you know, and we ended up getting through the whole song and I was a half step off, so that was pretty bad. So I'll say that.
Cool experience in the trenches, man. Cool.
Yeah, it happens, you know.
It happens.
In the territory. Yeah.
It happens, man.
That's my excuse. It happens. Steve tells me I need to blame more stuff on people. I need to blame my mistakes more on other people.
Hey, so what's your perception on the Colombian audience, and how do you feel about your upcoming show in Bogota?
Should be awesome. Yeah, Colombian audience is always, the 2 times I played there at least, it's been really great, super enthusiastic, super crazy. Yeah, I was there last year with Cynic, and it was awesome.
It's una chimba, wey puta.
Oh, okay, chimba. People, man, Steve, people are gonna love that back home. They're gonna love the chimba.
I know.
You know, man. Okay, man, speaking about the new generations and people that are just getting to know extreme sounds and extreme genres, what death song could you think could be a good hook for getting like a quote-unquote beginner to get hooked onto death?
I would say Symbolic. Like Symbolic and Crystal Mountain, if you're just talking songs. I mean, any of the bangers, really, like Philosopher, I mean, Pull the Plug. I don't know. Some people are still going to resonate with different eras differently, so some people are going to like the old stuff better. But yeah, I mean, that was Symbolic was the first one I really got into, so that was my gateway, so that's what I would say, I guess.
Cool. Okay, man, now we're getting close to the end. So on Metal Machine, we always have a tradition, which is asking our guests about Latin American bands. Do you know any Latin American bands? And if so, which ones do you recommend?
Oh, boy. I said Angra. I always liked Angra and like Temple of Shadows, you know. Cool.
Okay, guys, thank you very much.
All right, thanks, man.
Peace out. Enjoy.